Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. I'm Argent Leo, and today I'm commenting on an 8E lone victory royale. So I do play on a slow internet connection. Our country does not have an epic server in it, and well, you can consider a slow internet connection as sort of like a handicap, but I'm going to explain to you guys the style I use in playing in order to overcome that obstacle. So I've just landed on the island, and what I'm looking for now is a weapon which I've already collected. So I need to increase my health. So as we go through this win video that I'm commenting on, I'm going to explain to you guys why I do certain things and the certain things that you need to consider when you're playing on a slow internet connection, or you have a slow reaction speed. Basically, you're not as quick as you'd like to be in the game, and you're looking at improving. These are things that you can do that will assist you in overcoming those obstacles. So right now, just looking for better weapons. So what I found is that the SMGs compared to ARs in the gray weapons, common, uncommon, and rare, is that the SMGs do fire a lot faster in unsighted in those categories than when they've got a sight in those categories. The movement speed of the character is affected, so if you don't have a sight on the weapon, the character basically moves a tad faster, just a little bit quicker. So that is why when I play Battle Royale, in other than epic or legendary weapons, the purple or the gold weapons, I would prefer to have the weapons in an unsighted version. It's not always the case. Sometimes those are the only weapons that are available. Unfortunately, you'll have to collect them. You can't be running around looking for weapons, especially in a competitive environment like this when players are constantly trying to eliminate you. You just got to play smart as well, and obviously pick up the weapons that you need. I say this because in previous seasons, I noticed that players would not pick up the gray hand pistol. They would run past the gray hand pistol, and to be honest with you, having any weapon when you just land, compared to not having any weapon at all, you should actually have a weapon. The pickaxe is absolutely useless. Okay, I do have pickaxe eliminations, but that's not what we're doing today. Okay, so there's a player below me. I want to intimidate that player, so I don't know exactly where that player is. So I knocked out the roof just to put some pressure on that player, get him to move around, get him to wonder what's going on, and reposition a little bit away to see what's going on there. So that player actually ran below me. There is another player to my right. So I'm going to call those feet tells, I'm going to call them footsies. So those erratic footsies are obviously the players, and the one to the left is an NPC. I know that there's an anti-resistance layer to my left, so that's probably an NPC. So I should be seeing that player shortly. Okay, there he is. So that player is trying to build. So in this season, you can't place builds everywhere, especially on roofs that start that way. I don't think that player has been playing for a while, so he probably isn't up to speed with that roof scenario. But what I found is that if you can't place a wall, you most probably would be able to place a pyramid, a roof. The roofs most commonly can be placed in most places, not everywhere, but in most places they can be placed. So places where you couldn't place a floor, you most probably would be able to place a roof. But you need to get more aware of your surroundings. You need to study the map to a certain degree to understand where those places commonly could be. So we're going to attack the NPC that's inside over here. So this is a red guard, and the red guard has got the key card for the vault in this building. So we're going to go down to that vault. And in that vault, you would usually find epic or legendary weapons. So that's what we're looking for. That's part of my my gameplay strategy. And because I've got a slower internet, I'm looking for the most powerful weapons that I can find. And as I collect them, then we'll discuss them, just so that it's, you know, easier to understand exactly what I mean and what I'm talking about. So we'll check this chest. Okay, for some reason, and I should have opened that epic chest over there. I didn't open the epic chest. I don't know why I didn't do that. I should have, but I didn't, and I would have probably found weapons that I was looking for in there. But that's fine, because as I exited here, I did go to the resistance lair, which isn't far from here. So which is good, because now if you don't know about it, I'm going to show you exactly where it is. That's the anti-resistance lair. And the resistance layer is actually hidden here. So just next to this sewer cap lid in the ground is the resistance layer. So we're going to see what guns are here. Most commonly you get the blue ones. Those are the rare ones. And okay, that's a rare one. The rare handgun. I'll take that one. I won't take that because that is sighted and it's a slow firing AR, and I don't want that right now, so I'll opt for the green AR instead. So the reason why I'm doing this is, like I was saying earlier, if you've got a sighted weapon, most of them actually slow down the movement speed of the character. And I've experienced that because I do have a slow internet connection and we do not have an epic server in my country. So I find that playing this way, using the non-sighted weapons and capitalizing on my movement speed, is a better way for me to generally get wins while playing Fortnite Battle Royale. So okay, there's no other players in the area that I can tell, so I'm going to take this vehicle and I'm going to try and look for players and also look for better weapons. So with regards to the pump shotguns, I find that the pump shotguns do not work for me in this season. And the reason is I find that when I'm using them, when I fire with those pump shotguns, I sort of like get the impression of a sticky trigger. So what happens is there is a delay between shots, but there's also a delay between when I shoot with the weapon and after it reloads. It's rather difficult to explain. I'm not sure if I'm actually getting through to you guys with my explanation. But when I fire, there's a delay before it shoots. Then you gotta wait for it to reload before you can shoot with it again. And then when I fire for the second time, I get another sticky trigger feel on it. We're going to enlist this NPC. And I find it impossible basically to judge between shots, and I can lose a lot of fights because of that. If you've noticed, I didn't pick up that the shield over there, and the reason for that is I would prefer to keep the flow berry, because the flow berry not only heals me a little bit with the shield, but it also gives me a boost in speed. And I find that that boost in speed would benefit me more in a fight or in a losing fight for me to actually get away or to move quicker. So luckily the Flowberry Fizz was there, so I would take the Flowberry Fizz because the Flowberry Fizz gives me movement speed and also repairs my shield if it gets damaged. I have no idea why Teddy doesn't want to go along with me, so we'll go back and collect him. So in a scenario where I didn't find the Flowberry Fizz, I would keep the Flowberry, so if I got into a fight, I know where there's health, I know there's shield over there, and I could possibly go back. If I beat the opponent and I lose shield and health, I can always regain the shield and health from what the opponent is carrying, if any. Most opponents tend to keep their last 2 slots open for healing items. I don't necessarily do that, and I will explain you why a little bit later in this video. So these players are fighting. I'm going to try and run this player over, and I'm going to use the vehicle as a shield as I get out of the vehicle, because I get out on the left hand side, and then vehicle covers me for a second or two. So if the player to my right, that player running away, if he decided to attack me, I would have had time to react and build to cover myself. So he's running away. That tells me that that player is quite weak. So as you can see, I'm shooting through the air, and I've got that luxury because I've actually got 3 weapons with me. I can use the one to intimidate the player as I fly through the air, and the other 2 to actually eliminate that player. But I managed to do that just by using the second weapon. Also, in a fight, if I'm fighting one player, okay, I want that shotgun, so I'm going to take it. If I'm fighting one player and another player attacks me, if I've got, for example, like right now, if I've got 4 weapons that are fully loaded, I can fight both those players without reloading. In the same scenario with one player, I can basically overpower that player with those 4 weapons because I wouldn't have to reload. I can just be the aggressor until that player no longer is alive. So in this season, that strategy is working quite well, and it could work quite well for basically players even if your internet connection is a lot quicker than mine. But we'll talk about that a little bit more just now. So another thing that I do is I shoot ahead of the player's movement. So if the player's backing away, I would shoot more towards the backing away side. Like right now I'm missing to that player because I'm not judging his movement properly. This player is basically stationary, so I can aim in on this player. But what I generally do is I generally shoot in the direction that the player is moving in and sort of like merge my shots to meet the player. And then also slide my sight up and down so that I can possibly get the headshot in between that movement. Uses more bullets, especially with outer sight, because in most cases I would be playing without weapons with sights, but it gets the job done. And very effective with my slow internet speed. It does the job, and I do get wins by doing that. So let's just try and increase the building material, but I've got full building material. Another thing is you shouldn't be shy to use your building material. Obviously collect a lot of building material during the game, so you've got it to use it. Collect it from opponents that you eliminate. The health, you need to see what works for you. If you feel more comfortable running around with shield and medkits, then it's up to you. I'm not encouraging you to play in a certain way. I'm just showing you what I do in order to get wins, and it's working for me. So right now we're looking for the medallion. The medallion is still here. I'm sure that the medallion boss is still alive. No, the medallion is just laying there. So somebody eliminated the medallion. And I don't see any guards around, so that tells me that that player actually succeeded in eliminating the medallion boss. And also all the guards, and he got sniped from that island over there. So, shame. GG's player. But things like that do happen. And yeah, that's something that you need to be aware of. And yeah, there's a lot of snipers in Fortnite Chapter 5. So what I found is that this particular layer normally does have epic and legendary weapons in it. So in this case we've got 2 SMGs, my best SMGs, I love them. And both those SMGs have sights, I think. But there is a sighted gold AR there, and the cool thing about these weapons is, especially this loadout, is that you could possibly get a 2-shot elimination, and I'm going to prove that to you guys in this video when I fight a few more players. So do stick with me. That's going to be quite interesting to see how these weapons actually handle in a combat environment. So there's a player that is going to be approaching me from the right now. And I'm going to use the sighted AR. And that's 1, 2. And that's the 3rd shot. and he was eliminated. Another player to my left, and that's 2 shots, and that player was eliminated. So these weapons are extremely powerful, and if you are looking towards winning a game, playing on high ping or any other way, it's good to actually incorporate a strategy to get these weapons, either epic or core legendary weapons, and or the mythic weapons. So that player is quite brave because I hit him for 99, so he's basically walking on fumes. Still fighting. Brave. Out of ran by now. So I'm thinking maybe that player's possibly got a medallion. Not sure. So lots of me is telling me now, chase that player is weak, you can eliminate him, but I'm in this particular game for the long haul. It didn't start out as a high elim game, so I want to make it to the end. And I need to look for health. So I think there were bandages down there, but I'm actually looking for a med kit. And in this area, the floating island should have a med kit in it, unless somebody hasn't taken it. Let's have a look in here. So I do have 1 medallion, so my shield will always recover, if I give it enough time, recover to 50%. But I do want a med kit. And I could use the flowberry fizz to actually get my shield a little bit higher, but I'm thinking that I may need the flowberry fizz later on in the game. I think I wasn't the only player on top of this island. That player seems to be leaving. And I'm actually I've got the right weapon to have actually got 1 or 2 shots on that player, but I used the SMG instead of the AR. And that's my bad. But anyway, I'm sure I'm going to see him towards the end of the game. So my loadout, the way I set up my guns, I'm going to talk to you guys about that now. I just want to show you another elim that's going to happen in a second. So that player there with the sighted AR doesn't take a lot of shots. So that's 2 shots, and the player was eliminated. So definitely players that aren't good at building, players that are playing on slow internet, players that just want to improve their game, you need to incorporate some way of getting those epic or legendary weapons. They make a huge difference in your gameplay. Unless you're doing a challenge, maybe you're a good player and you just want more of a challenge, then I suppose then this wouldn't this would make a difference to you. But for new players that are playing on high ping, bad builders, this is what you're looking for. Generally, when your internet connection is slow, your builds are a lot slower, and if you don't have an epic server, then your builds will lag, your edits will lag. Like if you look at how I play, I don't edit a lot. I use the full build, the stair, the floor, the wall. And I do that because my edits aren't so reliable. And maybe I'm not that good at editing. It could be a possibility. But either way, I get 10 wins and I get reasonable amount of elims during my games. So this process that I'm showing you guys does work. I don't always play the same way. Sometimes I may do different things for different reasons, but I've been playing the game for a long time, so my style does change according to my situation. And if I feel I can do a riskier play under certain circumstances, then I do. If I feel that the player should be weak and I've got more health and I will be able to beat that player in a 50-50, then I will go for it. Okay, there's the other player, the last player. And okay, he's hiding behind the tree. Probably got some sort of sniper. So I'm shooting ahead of that player, and he ran into my bullets there. So that's something that players that don't aim that well, they can look at. If you're feeling that you're not aiming well, that could be why you don't hit players at a long distance, because you're not taking into account, the technical issues behind, the servers, internet connections, yada yada. You're just trying to aim, and like I was saying, if you don't have a server close to where you're staying, or you got slow internet, or there's many factors. The shooting ahead of the player and letting the player run into the bullets is a reliable strategy. So I've exhausted all my other weapons, all my AR and my SMG, so I've got to use the shotgun. And I don't want to give this player the impression that I'm afraid of him. So I'm using that time to reload. Wow. So okay, that player was just lasering me there. So what I needed to do was break the line of fire, and I did that with the bolts. And I placed them in such a way that I didn't have to edit, complicate my life doing that. I've got a medallion, so my shield will increase a little bit, but I want to keep that player in that area. He's close to the storm, and if he does get caught in the storm, then it will give me less work to actually, just get the shield and then eliminate that player. So the storm is moving. I managed to keep that player in the storm for a little while. I want to use the train to... Okay, I'm going to finish that sentence. I wanted to use the train to actually get further into the safe zone and possibly into the next one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's my strategy of playing Fortnite Battle Royale with a slow internet connection. And I've got the 8 elims. I've got a number of other videos that you guys can check out if you are interested in this sort of content. And if you are, please consider subscribing. I'm Argent Leo, and we've been playing Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 1. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.